A simple Node.js package setup. Here I init an npm, and now we will install two packages. One is Express and another is Node Cron. Express is used for our building server and it handles HTTP request, and Node Cron which will be used to schedule our data retrieval task. Now that we have our dependency installed, let's set up a basic Express server that we can use to test our application. Create a new file called server.js, new project directory, and add the following code. In this code, we first import the Express package and create a new app instance. We then define a route for the root URL, then simply sends a plain text response of hello world. Finally, we define a port for the server to listen on, either the port environment variable if it's set or port 3000 by default, and start the server by calling app.listen. To run this server, simply run the following command in your terminal: node server.js. It will run your application in port 3000, and if you open the Chrome or localhost 3000, you will able to see the static text hello world. Now that we have our basic Express server setup, let's move on to retrieving data from an external API. Before we can make API request to the third-party API, we will need to install a package that can be handle HTTP requests. For this tutorial, we will use a popular package called Axios. To install Axios, run the following command in your terminal: npm install Axios. This will install the latest version of Axios along with any additional dependency that it requires. Now that we have installed Axios, we can use it to make requests to third-party API for retrieving weather data. To use it Axios, first import Axios from Axios, and also define a temporary variable which will be object initially that will be used to store our weather data from our third-party API. Create a function called getWeatherData that takes in latitude and longitude coordinates as argument. It then conducts an URL for the OpenMetro API based on those coordinates and make a GET request using Axios. If the request is successful, the function stores the retrieved data in a temporary database called temp_data. If request fails, the function logs an error message to the console. We'll use this function later on when we set up our task scheduler with Node Cron. Now that we have retrieved weather data from the OpenMetro API and store it in a temporary database, let's move on scheduling task with Node Cron. To use Node Cron, we first need to require it in our code. We will use cron.schedule method provided by the Node Cron. It's a cron job that runs every 2 seconds and calls the getWeatherData function with an specific latitude and longitude coordinates. Let's test our cron job. To run this application node.server.js, we will able to see our console log is printed every 2 seconds. This console log is written in our cron schedule function. To test it, create an endpoint in our Express server to retrieve the data and return it as a response. First, start the Express server by running node server.js in your terminal. Once the server is running, open your browser and navigate to localhost 3000/weather. We will able to see their data is updating. If we refresh, you can see that data is constantly updated in every 2 seconds. Congratulations, now you have successfully implemented cron job in Express.